Tonight, if you've ever thought about being a certified life coach, then you want to stay tuned for this next testimony coming from Serrie, who is a certified life coach through the Breakthrough for Life Academy. And so I don't want to just come to you with marketing. I want to come to you with real people who've gone through the real program who can explain what it's like to get a life coaching certification through Breakthrough for Life. And so I want to welcome all my winners, all my aspiring coaches, all my previously certified coaches, all of you. I am so excited to bring to the stage Miss Serrie.
Thank you, Brenda. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So Anne, tell us a little bit about Serrie.
Okay, so I have just recently, thanks to Brenda's transition coaching, retired from working in a variety of places, but for 45 years of working for somebody and always enjoying my job, enjoying the people I worked with. But I felt like it was time to retire and move on to some creative pursuits. I've always wanted to do photography. I love writing and I have a heart for people. So I wanted to put together a website and really kind of get my creative work out there. And so, Brenda, I came to you for a coaching early on, and I never had gone through coaching before. I'd been a mentor and I'd been mentored. I've been a trainer and I've been trained, and I have gone for counseling, but I had never used a coach before. And I found it kind of the reverse of everything else. It was so inspiring that you, as a coach, brought things out of me that were already there, as well as informing me of things that I could try. And the other big plus was holding me accountable. So I'm married 45 years, happily married, and I have 2 dogs, and I now have time to do the things I always wanted to do, the creativity. And then I was not sure about coaching, and I've never really considered it for myself. But having worked with you for as long as we did, I see the value of it. And what sold me on your academy was the idea of marketing, because I wanted to market my photography and writing and things like that. So that's how I got here. I'm originally from New York and I've been down here for 35 years. And that's about me in a nutshell.
Okay. And she has a wonderful husband named John.
That's right.
And I just love her husband. He's the one who helped me come up with a strategy for for program titles, because he's a songwriter. And so he has to come up with titles for his songs all the time. So can we give a little plug to John and what John does?
Sure. John is a musician in a very unusual niche, and he is the producer of compositions for planetariums, for space. He's been involved with NASA and the George Lucas. They did a robots in space. His music is heard on Spa Channel, Sirius XM, Pandora, iTunes, all of those. But if you want to relax or go stargazing or get a massage or meditate, do yoga, that's the kind of music to check out. So give it a shot.
And so what's the name of his music channel again?
Oh, it's on Pandora. It's a John Serrie music channel. Well, just John Serrie channel. But if you look up John Serrie, Jonn, thank you for the plug.
Okay, so John Serrie, you can find him on the different platforms, but this is the thing. He's considered the grandfather of space music, right?
Yeah, he's in the forefront of creating space music, yes. Depending on where you look. In fact, I just looked on AI, which Brenda also has encouraged me to do, by the way, looking up using AI for technology and a tool. And it's had a wonderful write-up of him. So I was really excited to see that.
So if you're into space music, that whole outer hemisphere type music, then you want to, if you're a Trekkie, all of that, you've probably already heard his music.
Yes, and
So,
also if you need help falling asleep, he takes it as a compliment when people say they fall asleep to his music. It's also used for other research in terms of the beta waves and theta waves, and he's also been used by a lot of teachers working with autistic children.
oh, wow, I didn't know that last part. I have several of my clients and friends that have children in that struggle with autism. And so,
Mhm.
what we're here tonight to talk about is the Breakthrough for Life Academy. And in the Breakthrough for Life Academy, as Anne mentioned, we go through an 18-week intensive. Nine of those weeks are all about marketing. And 9 of those weeks are all about creating cognitive change in the lives of others. So we like to say we help others, we help equip you to help others heal, grow, and thrive. But in the process, you also heal, grow, and thrive. Now, with that being said, Anne, how did the nine marketing modules, how can that help you with your other businesses, like your photography business, like your grief coaching business, all of those different things that you are looking to do? How did those 9 modules help you in your marketing strategies?
Well, it got me off the dime because I was hesitant. I guess you'd say I'm a reluctant adopter to the technology, and I wasn't sure where to start. My idea of marketing came from education in the 90s. So social media was all I do was Facebook looking up relatives. But through this course, I learned how to use the platforms, how to grow my followers or my friends, and also that I didn't have to do a website right away. That was really instrumental for me. So knowing that I can use my Facebook platform, for instance, to do my marketing, I opened up the View from Annie's Porch. It's not my personal Facebook, it's my business Facebook. And I've started with putting my quotes and my photography out there. And I have grown the followers over time so that I'm excited, but I still have a long way to go. And I'm also, I guess I really helped me a lot because I was like very broad in the niche that I wanted to serve. But through the course, I learned how by narrowing your niche and finding your ideal client, you can get so much further. So you get those ideal clients and then word spreads and you can then grow your business. But it's so important to have that niche. And also, you taught us how to create incredible offers. So that was another thing. I was like, oh, how can I ask for money for what I'm doing, what I'm offering? But you really helped us learn how the value of what we have to offer.
And so that's a really big component of the Breakthrough for Life Academy, because most academies just glaze over marketing. But literally, the Breakthrough for Life Academy is designed to help you build a complete infrastructure so that you can launch your business and get 2 paying clients within 60 days of graduating. Now, does everybody do that? No, because some people say, like Anne, she had just retired when she got certified, and she kind of wanted to enjoy her retirement for a little while. But let's speak to the 2 paying clients. When you think about when you launch your business, your coaching business, are there any doubts that you will be able to reach your ideal client through social media marketing?
No doubt. No doubts, because I have, just by the people I know who see me about. So let me just back up a little to my background. I have been a hospice volunteer for many years before I started working at hospice. And my job there was as a volunteer coordinator in an inpatient facility. So I have many years of experience at hospice. And I also have lots of personal experiences in my life with death and dying. And I have found since I left that field, I didn't retire from there, but I left that to go work in another field, that I have so many people coming to me to ask questions about hospice specifically. And I think just by that knowledge that I have degrees, but they're not in that area. But I have learned through your coaching that I have a wealth of experience that I can share with people. And it may not be the ideal solution for everyone. And that's why I need to narrow the niche and the people that I want to reach out to first. But I have no doubt that social media will help me with that. And I have friends who are also in the grief field who have used social media for retreats and things. And I see how successful that has been.
So now you and I are of the age group where we weren't born with a cell phone in our hand. We remember the old fashioned telephone cord in the kitchen,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And so technology wasn't a big thing for us growing up. And so, how did the Breakthrough for Life Academy help you incorporate AI so that you can be more efficient and more effective and still maintain your unique voice?
Thank you. I was first a little worried about it because another one of my side gigs is editing, podcast editing. And I thought, oh, AI is going to take that job away from me. But I learned again through coaching that it is that we adapt to it and we use it as a tool. It's not taking over, it's a tool that we can use. So, first, the platforms like Facebook, in the old days with marketing, you paid a lot of money to take an ad out or to do a billboard or do a radio or television commercial. Now you can put something out on social media. And if you have a large audience or people that will share it for you, you're reaching so many people. And so if you know your niche and join Facebook groups or do Instagram, you're bound to get some people interested, at least an inquiry. And we learned through the academy, you do the consultation call or discovery call, and you do a call to action on everything you post on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. And then you can build from there. You just get your first couple clients, and I think it is definitely word of mouth.
Yes. And so when we look at closing the gap on marketing and AI for you, how can that translate into what you do in your other businesses, your podcast, your photography, and those other areas?
Well, I'm still learning it. I have learned how to use things like Chat GPT and others to do a variety of things for making life easier and saving time and being efficient. I think that it will help me. Like, for instance, I want to do a course at some point in photography, specifically something called the Zen style of photography. And I asked ChatGPT to come up with an outline for a course. And of course, I had to tweak it, but it saved me so much time. And I think it also is very much a confidence builder because it's taking information that's already out there, it's giving it to you so you can customize it and make it your own.
And I think that's the big thing that people need to understand about AI. They're like, oh, AI is taking over. No, it's a tool just like a lawnmower, but a lot more effective.
Mhm.
It doesn't forget it. And if you use it, it can propel your creativeness, because I'm a big believer in the fact that who were you before life happened to you?
Mhm.
Being
Mhm.
authentically who you are. Your uniqueness is your superpower. Your uniqueness is what sets you apart from everybody else. And although AI is out there gathering all this information, your unique voice is always going to be unique. And so, how we utilize AI is we get rid of the I don't knows through Google and AI,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so, this program, we're going to pray at every session. We're going to close with prayer at every session because breakthrough is the Lord's. And so we want to help people get a breakthrough for life and not just a band aid for now. But those things where I don't know who my ideal client would be for, let's say, reflexology. then Chat GPT can give you some, or some other tools. Centra AI is another one that I use a lot. It can give you that research information that used to take us hours to do,
Mhm.
right? It can summarize it. And if you still want to go see the article, you can go and take a look at it. And so I utilize AI to help my students become efficient in the areas where they're inefficient. That's the
Absolutely.
power.
Yeah. You helped us in the course. We were able to work on taglines. We were able to work on our title for our courses, our title for our business, all of that. And to your point about research, research is one of my favorite things to do. And at first, I was hesitant to take the control away from me, but I realized how much time I saved by using AI to get the basic research done. And then again, I go back through and ask for sources if I need to, and that type of thing. But I was really uh, amazed how much time I saved.
Yes, it's a huge time saver. And so, with that being said, let me ask you, let me go back. She only was given let me be accurate, 5 questions. And we're kind of just spitballing from there. And remember, this is all about helping aspiring coaches take a look and say, if you thought about being a coach, what
Mhm.
makes the Breakthrough for Life Academy different? And why would you want a live coaching laboratory environment for you to get your certification from? But first, I want to ask you, what was it like? I mean, how has one-on-one life coaching impacted your life, particularly with your transition out of corporate into retirement?
Well, I think, as I said, I hadn't had coaching in the past. So I really enjoyed the conversation and how I wasn't being told how to do something. I was being asked what I want and what I feel like I'm lacking and how to improve that. And it's all a matter of great questions that you asked and that brought me to a point of epiphany or enlightenment or the aha moment. So it was so good that within an hour I could come in from being confused to having a plan. And so it's not to say that everything worked out perfectly. I made adjustments as I went along, but it really helped me have a strategy for leaving my job at the time, and also thought about all the things that I was thinking were obstacles, like will I make enough money, and what am I going to do with my time, and who am I going to be socializing with, because those were all questions I had about leaving a job.
And
And
so,
also
with
about identity. You helped a lot with identity. Like, who am I if I'm not this work person?
okay, well, expand a little bit more about that.
Well, for many years, I was either a volunteer coordinator or I was a manager in the book industry. And even the other jobs I had in between, it was a leadership position and I had a team that I could work with. And I loved working with volunteers, especially, but I had nobody to delegate to anymore. It was me managing me. And that transition was a little difficult. You helped significantly with that.
And so, one of the things that we work on in all of my programs is time management.
Mhm.
Block time, priorities. I got a life sheet for everything. Is that not true?
That's true.
Now, let me ask you, with the one on one coaching, was the life sheets that I sent you something that you could go find elsewhere?
No, no. And I also have the feeling that they are so well researched that you wouldn't find something like that somewhere else. I think you probably gathered information from everywhere and picked the things that you liked that worked for you, and then you were able to adapt them for your clients. And I that was another thing we covered in the academy, is how to come up with the tools to use with our clients and make them our own.
Absolutely. One of the things that I teach you is not, I don't give, let's talk about a criticism I've had. I've had people criticize me because I don't give a license for my life sheets, and I have a whole slew of them. And the reason why, and we're about to do licensing, I'm in the process of it, of licensing my life sheets only to people who have been certified with the Breakthrough for Life Academy. If you have not been certified with the Breakthrough for Life Academy, this will not be open to you. But one of the things that I get criticism on, because I don't want this to be all glowing reviews and nothing bad, the reality is some people don't like the fact that they can't reuse my life sheets. But what I do, instead of giving you something, I teach you how to create your own. I teach you how I organically created these different life sheets for these different problems my clients would have, or areas where they needed to really get what was already in them out on paper so that they could run the race.
Mhm.
And so, in teaching you how to create tools, I'm not teaching you, giving you a fish, I'm teaching you how to fish.
Right. Yeah, it makes all the difference because we also want to adapt our life sheets or whatever we're going to call our tools to the topic that we're coaching on. And you coach on many varieties of topics. So, for me, I'm going to do one that's more related with grief.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I'm so excited about that. So she started out as a one-on-one client, and let her tell you, where did you find out about Breakthrough for Life?
I am still a Toastmaster, member of Toastmasters, and it's a wonderful public speaking opportunity and way to improve your public speaking. And Brenda was also a member, and she gave some fantastic speeches. And I was thinking, wow, I want to work with this person. So I contacted Brenda for coaching one-on-one, and we've coached over several years now in different topics that I've needed. And as far as the academy, at first, like I said, I was hesitant, like, do I really want to be a coach? But I was sold on it because of the marketing aspect. Half of the course was marketing, and in an area I was not at all familiar with, and that's social media. But we learned not just which platforms to use, but also the best times to post. And I'm sure that changes what demographic you're aiming for, because each platform is so different. So that was all wonderful. But I really was surprised because I had many years of interviewing people, because I hired a lot of people, and I thought, oh, I got this question stuff down. But I learned so much in the whole questioning process when we got to that aspect.
Okay, so now that we've talked about the 9 modules on marketing, and let me just cover a couple of things about those 9 modules. When we go through marketing, we're not just going to say, oh, let me show you about social media marketing. We go through the full gamut. So I'm going to tell you what these 9 marketing modules, and these classes, what Ann went through was 2.5-hour class. Now the class is 3 hours because the classes are going to be bigger. We were running over a lot of time. And so, I've kind of done this in such a way that everybody gets to engage and interact and implement.
Mhm.
That's the big difference. My program is not some online self-paced, if you go through all the modules and just watch them, you get certified. No, you have to display your ability to utilize the modules, the tools, and the skills that we are teaching you to add to your talents. So the marketing that we went through was business startup, which is by far all about how do you launch a side business while you still have a full-time job. So we deal with time management, we deal with getting clear on your visualization of your business goals, and what is the mentality that is necessary for you to go from being an employee to an entrepreneur. It's a different mindset. And so when we think about this different mindset, it's a different mindset because as an employee, I get paid for hours. As an entrepreneur, I get paid for results. So if I spend 40 hours building a service and nobody buys it as an entrepreneur, I don't get paid. And that's a shift in mindset. And so you really want to stop and you want to think about, what does it take to keep a business in business like mine? 12 years this October, we will have been in business. And so business startup, is one module, 3 hours. We're going to spend on your time management, your vision, and the mentality you need so that you can shift from employee to employer. Then we're going to do marketing strategy, and I cover the entire gamut. You do not have to have a website in order to launch your coaching business. So I'm going to cover the entire marketing gamut, including traditional marketing and what the investment is for traditional marketing, and then social media marketing and what the investment is there. And we cover it all so that you can customize your marketing strategy based on your budget, based on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Right? Because an extrovert may love running their mouth on video like I do. If you're an introvert, you're like, I like to be behind the scenes. And so we teach you marketing strategies for both personality types. And so that's marketing strategies. And oops, I just lost my earbud. And then we have niche marketing. And then we have a niche marketing lab. How do you narrow down your niche and then create your niche statement? And we do that in two parts. So first, we understand creating the niche, and we have breakouts in every single module. Every single class has a breakout where you can apply what you're learning immediately. So you can build confidence quickly. But then certain classes have labs where that's all we do. For 2.5 hours, all we did, for her 2.5 hours, new students, it's 3 hours, and the price didn't change. It's 3 hours. And all they do is practice their niche statement, practice their marketing language, practice their taglines. Then we go into another module, client programs. I help them put together their client program dependent upon who's their ideal client and how do they want to serve that ideal client. Then we put together an entire coaching program. I teach them how to create a coaching framework for their coaching sessions, a full coaching program. Then they go into a lab and they actually utilize the modalities that I teach them to create their own coaching program. Then we work on how to get your first 2 paying clients within 60 days of graduating. And that module is called Getting Clients. The next one is how to craft your irresistible offer. And then we're going to utilize client consults. How do you do a client consultation that takes someone from not knowing you from a can of spray paint to trusting you in 45 minutes and then signing up for your coaching program or service? And so all of those is what we're talking about when we talk about the marketing modules. That's 9 marketing modules, 3 hours a week on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then you actually utilize it. So I'm going to bring Ann back to the stage, and I want her to before we go into the coaching modules, I want her to just share how actually utilizing the marketing tools that were given to her, how it impacted her confidence. And so, Ann, can you share how your confidence was impacted through the marketing strategies?
Sure. Thank you. For one thing, navigating all of this, starting your own business can be very daunting. And I had read books and I had gone to some entrepreneur classes and things. And like Brenda said, a lot of places just have things you can read and they don't really make you take action. Well, in this course, you have not just what's covered in the class, but in the materials, you have many resources like how to get your EIN, how to look up your company name searches, how to look up the Small Business Association website and logo design. All those things I researched. And you also have to do homework, and you're accountable for your homework. So that's another thing that, for me anyway, I needed that accountability. And it really made me dig into the course, not just what we learned in class, but also doing all the rest of the homework. And this is a resource manual that I'll use forever because it's going to be relevant for a small business.
And so when she says a resource manual, because I'm old school, we do it in paper. All my life coaches that I've certified that are younger, they're like, "Can I get a PDF?" No. So this is what she's talking about. Every single person who, once their account is at zero, they've made their final investment payment for the certification, they get a life coaching training manual. And in that life coaching training manual, it's going to break down every single thing we're going to cover for the next 18 weeks, but it's a coaching manual. So it has breakouts, it has fill in the blanks. You have to interact with the manual. So with that being said, Anne, share with me your level of confidence.
Oh, well, one thing I did that made my, because I was like, how am I going to pick a theme for the month? And well, one of the things Brenda offers in the class is marketing content plan. And so one suggestion that she had is to have a theme each month and post on a regular basis. So I was like, how am I going to pick something? But in this class, we actually did it. And I came out with it and I used it, and it made it easier for me, but it also built my confidence because I saw how the consistency drew more people, like they were looking forward to hearing from me again. And also all the information. I didn't feel like a babe in the woods for entrepreneurship. I felt like I had a really good grounding.
Yes, this is what I want you guys to know. It's about building confidence, not gaining knowledge. So if there's anything that you want to type in or write down in your notes, it's information does not transform lives. Implementation does.
Mm-hmm.
And when you implement new strategies, you gain confidence so that you can go and actually do it outside of the coaching laboratory. Is that not correct?
That's right. Because I'd put something out there and think, well, we'll see what happens. And I was like, wow, it worked. I got people interested. So that was really confidence building.
Yes. And so Tammy Woods, I've been trying to get Tammy in this academy for multiplied years. Hopefully she'll be coming into the July 12th, no later than the September 27th. Is it September 27th? Yeah, the September 27th class. There's 2 more cohorts that you could sign up for. July 12th, which we are filling up now, and the September 27th cohort. If you sign up for the July 12th cohort, you will graduate and be certified by the end of the year. If you sign up for the September one, you won't be certified until 2026 because we need 18 weeks. And we do not work in the month of December in the academy because people have to miss too many classes because of parties and stuff like that. So we just don't do anything in September. So, I mean, in December, sorry, not September, in December. So if you are looking to get involved, you want to schedule a free discovery call with me now, because we are filling this one up. I have someone who's getting ready to do marketing ads and a whole 9 yards because we want a full class in this next one. And so let me ask you, what was it like learning something and then immediately going to put it to use?
Makes all the difference in the world for me, because otherwise I would sit and think about it and maybe do it next week, or maybe build up the confidence to go try it a different way. But no, actually doing it right away made a huge difference. And even if I failed, at least I tried it, I put it out there, and now I can tweak it and try it again.
And see, this is the beauty of the live lab, is you don't get time to talk yourself out of it.
Right.
And one of the comments that they hear me say 1,000 times during the 18 weeks we work together is, somebody needs to see you're perfectly imperfect. And in this coaching laboratory, this is a perfect space for you to simply grow.
Absolutely.
And make whatever mistakes are necessary for you to grow.
Yeah.
To the point of confidence. What were you going to say, Anne?
Oh, I was going to say, you allowed us to practice actually the coaching, the questions, in a safe environment. And you coached us as we went, which was really helpful, because then one of our assignments was to find 2 people to actually coach pro bono. And I would have been really nervous about doing that if we hadn't had the labs to practice. And so then that built up the confidence of having had those 2 clients that were pro bono. Now I feel more comfortable. I can just with regular clients.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so when I'm looking at certifying someone, I don't want you to have just head knowledge. I want you to feel so comfortable with the material that it becomes second nature to you. So now let's talk about what was your experience like going through the cognitive coaching modules, those 9 modules. And let me tell you what those are, audience. Those 9 modules are the anatomy of pivotal questions, client consults laboratory. So that's a questions lab. You learn how to do the client consult in the business modules, but then we circle back around to it now that you know how to ask powerful, pivotal questions that shift people's mindsets. Then we're going to utilize that as we refine our client consult. Then we have the groom coaching modality, which you learn what groom is once you go through certification. It is an acronym. And then we have a lab where this coaching modality is designed to help people go from goal setting to goal achievement, help them get out of their way. And it is a unique approach besides all the stuff that you read about goal setting. It's how do I go from goal setting to goal achievement and actually make steps that are action that gets traction. Then we go into perceptive listening. This is about reading body languages, nonverbal communication. It's also about identifying subliminal tells so you can get to the root of why someone really is doing what they're doing instead of the surface where we sit a lot on the surface. We want to really get into what's at the root of that behavior. It's some belief. And so how do I hijack that belief, extract it out, and help you move forward? So that's what Groom helps you do. And so then we have a lab where we're going to spend 3 hours and we're going to just coach each other until it becomes second nature. Then we have perceptive listening. Then we have the lift coaching modality. Lift is the the second coaching modality that I teach. You can't find it on YouTube. And if you do, then you need to let me know because it's a violation of my trademark and my copyright. So the lift coaching modality is designed to help you lift up the surface issues, get to the root, and cut it off at its head so that people can now behave differently because they believe differently. Then we have the building trust with Lift, which is basically a lab. But since I do some teaching on how to build trust quickly with people, how to build rapport and things of that nature, I call it Building Trust with Lift because you're going to practice Lift in there. Then we have what is called the communication grid. The communication grid is teaching you how people listen and process information and how you can adjust so that you can deal with conflict resolution, build trust quickly, and help people communicate better. Many people tell me that this one helps change their marriages. The first lady I certified, she's like, girl, where was this 18 years ago? Me and my husband probably wouldn't be arguing all the time had I known his communication style. And then the last one is the coaching laboratory. The coaching laboratory brings all 18 weeks into one class. And we're literally, now that you know what your coaching skills can be and the ahas that you can get from it, and you know the marketing material, now they all come together and we refine everything so you walk away fully equipped to launch your business. So now we're going to go back to, now that we've talked about the 9 coaching modules, of the 9 coaching modules, what was it like going through the different coaching modules while you're learning, getting aha moments for other people? What was that like for you?
It was exceptional, I would say, because if I didn't, even as you were talking about everything, some stuff was coming back to me. And that's why this book is so helpful to have as a resource, because I was like, well, how do you start? And you gave us all that. You gave us the steps, the flow of a conversation. And then with the different tools like Groom and Lift, you taught us how to interact with the person so that they feel comfortable, they trust you. And if something comes up, like you said, sometimes there's some subliminal thing that might come up. you can help them work through it. Or if it's something, which is another thing you taught us, if it's something that maybe they need counseling for, you can just let them know that that's not something you cover. And I really appreciated the fact that you did cover the difference between counseling and coaching, because that was one of my barriers. I thought, well, I'm not qualified to do this kind of work, but that really helped me a lot. But overall, I think the structure, the questions that you've given us a whole toolbox to use. So, and then of course we can develop our own questions too, but those pivotal questions were so instrumental in getting me comfortable and confident. And then the whole idea, I don't know if you're going to ask this, but the labs, working with other people in the class, with you observing sometimes, or just working with each other, we were able to really coach each other, not just role play, but we were actually coaching each other and getting so much out of it.
And so in the program, you're going to do, in class, there's going to be a demonstration, and then there's going to be breakouts where you go use what you've learned. Then you're going to coach with a peer coach from the class for 8 sessions. So you get coached for 4 and they get coached for 4. Now, the peer coaching element of it is all designed to help you build confidence. Then you go out and you have 2, as Ann mentioned, you get 2 pro bono clients that you practice it with them as well. So now we're going to talk first about the peer coaching. What was it like actually utilizing the skills and then getting a breakthrough or an aha moment with your peer coach? What was that like for you?
Well, the first 18 modules, the first 9 modules, we all got to know each other pretty well, but it really came out in the coaching practices, in the peer coaching. And I think one of the things the biggest thing for me was building trust with each other. And I really saw how you can build trust and get your client to trust you. And so that was, I think, the most important part. I also liked how you rotated people, so we didn't always have the same people. And that was another thing I'll say for the whole program. I came in thinking I was going to do something. Somebody else in the group was going to do the same thing. And I thought, well, maybe I should pick a different clientele. And I started doing that. And then I said, no, after learning all of this, I was like, no, I need to go back to my original thought. But I think anybody who comes in might have a change of heart of what they want to coach on. And I know one of the other students in our class did feel that way. And she changed where she was going. And I think she felt so much more confident about it too.
So let me ask you, building confidence with your peer. Now, your peer knows what you're supposed to be doing. They kind of know, right? But building confidence with your peer, how did that confidence then transpire over to the aha moments you got with your pro bono clients that don't know what you're supposed to be doing?
That was really interesting. I was nervous about it at first, but because of all the practice, I had a structure. And as long as I had a structure, I felt like, okay, I can do this. And yeah, maybe it was a little awkward, some of the questions, until I got a flow going, but I felt like I really made progress and I really helped the clients that I had, the 2 pro bono clients. And it was also important that you taught us how to take notes while we're doing our coaching, because we had to report back of course, keeping confidentiality, but report back to you what we got out of each of those pro bono sessions. And we had to do 4 of them. So it wasn't just a one-time practice, but it was 4 to bring a person from their goal setting to goal achievement.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the notes, because in the notes, when I graduated from my certification program, they didn't teach me how to run a business. So thank goodness I had been working for CEOs for the past 30 years, and I had a very good sense of how to develop people and how to develop business and marketing and sales. That was my previous background in corporate. But one of the things that was very important for me was to be able to take notes, because you're trained not to interrupt people. It's training. And that's probably was the hardest part for me going through certification when I got certified was I always wanted to interrupt people. But to be able to take notes and be able to circle back and bring something back to someone's remembrance can help them really track the thread through their thought process. So, what was the biggest aha moment that you experienced throughout the coaching certification program?
Wow, that's a good question. Because there were so many highlights, I would say. But I guess the main thing was to build the confidence that I can do this because I have the tools. I have the experience, but I also have the tools now. And also how to really refine what I want to do. And, like you said, we can always expand later, but start out with a specific target audience, with a specific niche statement, with a specific goal in mind. And also, even, I guess, another aha moment is how you can make a living. And you gave us the goals, like how many client consults you do in a month in order to get 2 clients and that type of thing. That really helped me because it was concrete information that I needed. Like, where do I start? What do I do? So the class and the book and working with the other students really was an amazing experience. I really didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And I had talked to another person that I know who went through a coaching process, and she said hers was basically online, not a lot of interaction, not any practice. She got certified, but she does not feel very confident about seeing clients.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because the number of students that paid for an online course from a bigger brand or a bigger name, we're not going to say, I respect all of them. Everybody's out here trying to get their hustle, but they don't produce confident coaches that can charge 4 figures for a coaching program. And I really have a heart for that. I'm a results coach at the very end of the day. So when I get people who tell me, "Oh, I got certified, but I'm not getting clients," or I did get a couple of clients, but I couldn't get any results, they end up signing up for my life coaching academy and going through recertification with me. I'm gonna speak of one young lady who went through she got certified from a university for coaching, an accredited university, still didn't know how to get clients, didn't feel real confident that she could get breakthrough results. And so she got recertified through me. And then she's like, you need to submit your curriculum to the university because this was better than anything I've seen out there. So she paid twice because she wasn't in an implementation lab. And that's what the Breakthrough for Life Academy is. It is a laboratory that is fertile for you to grow so that you can heal, you can thrive, because you're going to get 4 coaching sessions with your peer coach. Then you're going to get 2 bonus coaching sessions from me if you take advantage of the quick action discount. Then you're going to get 2 instructor coaching sessions that are all about launching your business. So you walk away with 4 individual one-on-one coaching sessions from the Breakthrough for Life Academy, not to mention all the one-on-one breakout coaching we do all 18 weeks. So when you got an aha from your peer coach, what was that aha where you helped them get an aha? You helped them through your coaching, they got a breakthrough. What was one of those breakthroughs? We're not going to share any names, so confidentiality, you guys don't even know what cohort she was in. So confidentiality is already in place because nobody knows. But what was the biggest aha you got that surprised you that you could get it when you haven't had any experience coaching?
In one case, it was that the person really, what was holding them back in some ways was the need to be considered stable and realizing that she did not have a support system. And so that was the aha. And then the realization that there was other support out there that she could reach out to that was not necessarily family.
And how did that aha impact her?
I think it gave her a lot of hope, and she really felt like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. And she was putting things in place. And I think it made a big difference for her.
Okay.
Make
What
a
was
she was changing careers, and yeah.
so what was one of the ahas you got with your pro bono clients that really was like, whoa?
This is somebody who is very giving all the time and works with elders, and has a lot of family dynamics going on. And her realization was she was trying to make her home her castle. She was redoing everything, and she was trying to figure out kind of like, what's next? What can I do next? And it was that she had been divorced, and this was her way to like refresh her whole life. And but that was one realization. The second one was that she was really wanting to get away and do like a retreat with God. And so she's always got family wanting to come with her, do things with her. And her realization was, I really need to take time for myself and get away and get straight with God. So
I
that was
love that.
emotional. That was emotional.
Yeah, I bet that was an emotional one. So, when we're looking at the Life Coaching Academy, we know that you selected life coaching, the Breakthrough for Life Coaching Academy, because of the marketing elements
Mhm.
and things of that nature. But how did the coaching modalities impact your everyday communication with people that have nothing to do with coaching?
It just made me a better communicator. I feel like I was already a very good listener, and I was very perceptive, but these really gave me the tools like, okay, I just had this realization, I'm bringing this person along in this conversation. Maybe if I ask this question, we'll see what opens up from there. So using it intentionally, using the questions intentionally, and also the process, either the groom or lift, whichever process that you need. That really impacted me. So I still feel like the whole program was great. I feel like I needed the marketing, and the coaching part really made me a better coach, a better person.
Awesome. So you didn't just get certified, you didn't just get the marketing modules and information you needed, but it also helped you grow as a person.
Definitely, definitely.
So,
Oh, can I share one more aha
yes.
I had? Okay, I think it was when we were talking about the prices to charge. You
Mm-hmm.
gave us examples, and you told us how the value of the package versus the individual. So I understood all that, and that was a good eye opener. But I think the thing that really hit home the most was, you're not just asking for money, you are helping somebody. And that was just like, okay, the light bulbs went off. That's what the value is to help somebody, you know? So I hadn't thought about it in those terms. I was still thinking, oh, can I ask for this much? And so that was really helpful too.
And I thank you for bringing that up. I want to cover a couple of things that Anne brought up. One, I teach because most of my clients are Christians and we have a hard time charging for our gift. But God says that your gifts will make room for you. And God is the author of exchanging value for value. So when you see you're helping someone overcome burnout, build confidence, helping someone really deal with the grief process of losing a loved one, or maybe they've lost multiple loved ones over the year, and they are really, the grief is really crushing on them, and then to come in and have a coach that can help you to move past that, is that not valuable?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, um, in all honesty, my last suicide attempt was right after my mother died. right after my mother died was my last suicide attempt. And I know that because right after that, I got pregnant with my son. And I know from that point at 26 years ago, I haven't had another episode with suicide attempts. That had been my third episode. Many of you guys don't know or may know, I have been in a straitjacket 3 times because of suicide attempts, 3 suicide attempts from the age of 13 to the age of 26. Now I'm 26 years on the other side of all that, and I've learned so much, and that's why I have such a heart to help people grow. But my whole point in this is that last one was when my mom died, the woman who loved me the most, the person who I knew had my back no matter what, was in a grave, and I didn't trust the folks that she left me with.
Mm.
And I wish I had someone to process that grief properly with, because then I may not have tried to commit suicide that third time. And we just don't realize, and I'm going to tell you, today is the 28th year since my mom died. My mom died June 19th, 27 years ago. And I'm going to tell you, grief has no expiration date. And I want you guys to see the heart of the coach that we have sitting here today. Anne is a phenomenal heart, and she has a heart of a coach. But as having a heart of a coach, what would you say to someone who's had 3 suicide attempts, and the last one was based on losing a loved one? What would you say to that person, Anne?
Well, you'd have to spend some time, a lot of listening, to know that they are loved. They're loved. Their mother still loves them, because I believe their mother is watching over them. I would say it's interesting that your mother died. This is the date my dad died, 3 years ago too. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, dealing with the loss, because if we don't have help going through it, then it remains a ghost, and it can come back to really haunt us, and it can really drive us to do things that we might not otherwise do, just out of pain, the inner pain that you have. But there's resources out there, there's help out there, there's people out there that you don't have to feel alone. I think that's the biggest thing. People can't deal with the pain. Aspirin's not taking it away, and they also just feel so alone, so isolated, and like they don't realize that all of us have gone through some kind of loss. And it's not just loss of a loved one. But I don't know if that answers your question. I would have to spend more time with you, Brenda.
No worries. I definitely put her on the spot.
The big thing is that you have to be able to share it, or to pull it out of a person. Have somebody that you can talk to. I think that's the problem with, there's so many suicides in the country right now, that they feel like there's nobody that they can get help from. Nobody.
And a big thing about suicide, when I talk about suicide, is the big thing with suicide, at least for me, I'm not talking from a book. I'm talking from 3 attempts. I hated myself. I was trying to people please, and the people around me, I couldn't seem to make them happy. And it just drove me into a hole. And so I did very destructive things so I could be accepted when I was younger. And that spiraled into drug use and all kinds of different things. But the biggest thing was I wanted the pain to stop. And I didn't know any other way to get that pain to stop. And I think that's why I am so dedicated to life coaching and to helping 1 million people transform their lives through life coaching, because mental illness is real. And when you don't feel like you have a way out, you will try to take the ultimate way out. And
Mhm.
what a life coach does, a life coach helps you see options. A
Mhm.
life coach helps you tap into the greatness that God put on the inside of you, especially if you have someone who's in coaching because they have a heart of a coach and not just, oh, this is another way I can make a lot of money.
Right. Right.
I don't even take those kind of people into my academy. So sometimes my academy classes are very small because I only want people who have a heart of a coach. But to get back to
Mhm.
the point of suicide, if there's people around you and they go silent, reach out to them,
Mhm.
call them, go by their house, take them out to eat, let them talk to you, and
Mhm.
don't judge and don't do this type of positivity where you discount what they're feeling
Right. Right.
because they don't feel like they have an outlet.
Mhm.
And so you want to help people heal. You want to help people grow, listen, and give them options from asking questions that come from within them. One of the things that I tell
Mhm.
my coaches all the time, mentors point things out. You did this, you should have done this, you should have done that. But a coach taps into what God placed on the inside of you and activates it forward. We pull it out, we don't point it out. That's
Mhm.
the biggest difference.
Mhm.
And so, with that being said, whew, that was an emotional roller coaster that I did not anticipate going into.
Well,
Um,
I would say that was beautifully said, and also so important. But you also taught us that there are times in coaching to build trust by sharing some of our own experience, but asking first if we can, and then it often creates an even stronger bond with the person. I know that happened in the peer coaching for me.
Absolutely. The tools that I give people to build trust with people are not for manipulation. They're just how we're naturally wired in our brain to
Hmm.
begin to trust someone,
Hmm.
right? And so when you signed up for the academy, did you have any doubts about the Breakthrough for Life Academy?
I had doubts about myself becoming a coach, but I knew your reputation and your style, so I didn't have a doubt about the what was going to be taught or the information. But what pulled me in was the marketing, and I think I was so glad that I did it. Elated, I would say, excited because of everything else I learned, and I do plan to take it forward and use all the tools that you have given me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
And I have my
I,
certificate
huh?
hanging and
What did you say?
I have my coaching certificate hanging up.
I thought that was, look, so can you grab your
Yeah,
coaching certificate as I give some information um, as we go to the
it's
club?
probably going to show up backwards, but no, maybe not.
Hold on, hold on. Let me.
Okay, you got it.
So that is the certification that you get when you're certified. When I have a live event, then I will literally invite the alumni who never had one handed to them, and I will hand them a framed certification. But if I'm mailing it to you, because I've certified people from New York to California, if I'm mailing it to you, the postal service don't use are not very gentle with frames. So you get a paper certificate in the mail. So you said you had doubts about you being a coach. Were your doubts about you being a coach completely resolved?
Yes, they were.
How so?
I think, well, now I feel like I could do it, but more you built the confidence that, okay, I worked with people who were social workers, bereavement counselors, that kind of education. And I thought, well, I'm not one of those, but I do have education and I have a ton of experience. And I also, like you said, I have the heart to help people that are going through that because of my own experiences too. So, no, I felt so much more confidence after getting the tools because I'm a person who says intellectually, I can probably do this, but now I feel like I'm armed with a toolbox that will really help me excel at it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And One last question. Well, two last questions, and then we'll bring it to a close. Well, we're going to make it one because you've shared a lot about the highlights. What was the most challenging part for you in the journey?
Probably the first pro bono session. Yeah. Just because even though we practice it with the peers, you have to be vulnerable. You have to really open yourself up. And with the pro bonos, I knew the person a little bit. I didn't know them very much. But again, I feel very bonded with them now because of what we shared for those 4 sessions.
Awesome. Awesome. So, with that being said, would you do it again?
Would I do it
Would you
again?
make that investment again? Because
Oh,
it's a significant investment. It's a four-figure investment.
it was.
So,
I was a little bit like not hesitant again because I know your reputation, but I no, I thought it was a lot, but then I was also in the mode of having left work and not I'm feeling too young to just not do anything, so I want to do my photography and incorporate it into the grief coaching. So I think that it was definitely worth it.
awesome, awesome. And so that means you would do it again if you had
Mhm.
it a second chance,
Yeah,
right?
or I would encourage other people to do it too.
What would be your words of wisdom to an aspiring coach that's like, oh, I do not want to spend four figures on a life coaching certification? And how do I know if I'm going to really get what she says? Because so many people say they're going to do this and don't. What would be your words of encouragement to an aspiring coach?
Give yourself the chance to do it, be open, and do the work. Do the work because if I had not done the homework, I wouldn't got half of what I got out of it. So it's really important. And you're not just doing homework for homework's sake, you're building your business while you're doing it, especially the marketing aspects of it. You really are building your business. And you come away like, I was just amazed how many more followers and friends I was able to get. That was because you challenge us every week to write down how many we increased by. And also the
Mhm.
whole, I guess it's just tools, having all the tools available to use, like how often I should post and what I should do a theme for the month and just all those tips really. I mean, you probably learned all that the hard way and you now have shared your wisdom. So I appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Anne, thank you so much for joining us. I told her I only wanted an hour of her time, and I've taken an hour and 8 minutes, so I'm gonna let her go ahead and slip off. Thank you so much for being here with me, and
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna.
Brenda.
You're welcome, and I'm gonna close us out. Thank you so much, Anne. I appreciate your time. If you are one of those aspiring coaches and you're looking to add skills to your talents, I strongly suggest you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach BU and go and take a look at a couple of those playlists that talk about marketing, that talk about if you want to launch a coaching business. But definitely schedule a free discovery call so that we can go through and see if the Breakthrough for Life Academy is a match for you. Right now, we have quick action discounts available that are pretty significant. And we also have payment plans available depending on which cohort you want to join. So you don't want to wait until the absolute last minute. You want to take some time and really think about if this is a career choice for you and if you want to launch a business that pays the mortgage, right? I can't make promises on how much money you'll make, but what I can tell you is I equipped you with every single tool that you need so that you can launch a side business that can help you create a financial economy that is going to elevate your life and not decrease it. And so Antoinette is one of my she's not one of my students. She's one of my coachees. And I just did a coaching session with her today. And she's been in her business for 10 years. And she shared with me that we're working on her brand kit. She shared with me about her brand kit, and she was like, I thought I knew what I was doing, and now look, you give me this brand kit, I'm about to really rock it. And she did know what she was doing based on what she knew. But this is the power. Information doesn't transform lives, implementation does. So Antoinette also indicates you are changing lives and teaching others as well. So one person at a time. Thank you, Coach B. You. Thank you so much, Antoinette. I absolutely love working with you. If you're into reflexology, find Antoinette. It's her. She has a unique spelling of her name. Find her online and tap into her business. She can help you live whole from head to toe. With that being said, I just want to share with you guys one last little bit. When it comes to coaching, coaching is going to involve a variety of different things, but what it really needs to involve is a heart to see people heal, grow, and thrive. And if that's your heart, don't sleep on it. God gives us all talents. Says the gifts and the callings are without repentance. And I want to land on this story about the story of the talents. There is one servant who got 10 talents, one that got 5 talents, and another one who got 1 talent. The servants that got the 10 and the 5, they immediately went out and put their talents to use. The last servant who got 1 talent, he went and buried it because he was scared. And in that story, the master calls the servant a wicked servant because he did not multiply his talents. And fear is what created that hesitation. The other 2 went out and immediately duplicated their talents and came back and gave the master spoils beside it. Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be the one that multiplies it, or are you going to be the one who buries your talent? The truth is, all of us have talent. The question is, are all of us going to put our talents to use? And so whether it's with Breakthrough for Life Academy or another academy, I'm asking you, if you have a heart of a coach, don't sleep on your talent or your gift. Let God help you take that gift and that talent to a new level through relationship with a certification program from an instructor who's live the entire class and who is there to answer your questions, show you a better way, and help you to thrive in purpose with your talents, adding skills to your talents. This is Coach BU signing off. Peace and love.